So today's action in the stock market can be described as Whiplash Wednesday. Got bought, went up, went down, and when you look at the grand scheme of things, it really didn't move anything at all. It just stayed flat, at least in the SPY index. We're looking here at the futures contract, which, as you can see, we had the big down move, the reaction to the move, and now we're just consolidating here, waiting and waiting for energy to move either the upside or the downside, and that will depend on several factors. The market is basically waiting and waiting and calling for dip buyers to come in. If they don't show up, sellers will show up instead and push the market down. But let's take a look at how this day developed in the morning. So we had headlines from Norwegian cruise line that they're halting all cruises until the end of September, and that took the cruise industry, cruise stocks down. And I actually tweeted this morning before the market opening, predicting that even though with the bad news on Norwegian cruise line, other cruises, the buy the dip crowd, the gambling crowd, are still relentless, and they're going to attempt to buy the dip on Norwegian cruise line. Before we take a look at Norwegian cruise line chart, let me remind you of my conclusion from my video on Monday. In conclusion, we remain cautious, we remain bearish, and we continue to buy the VIX to protect our long portfolio, and we continue to short the rip in airline stocks and weaker stocks that are being pushed by day trading or gambling activities. These names are weak, they have no merit to go up, and when you see it, when you look at the real charts in the economy and the recovery, specifically for the airlines, hotels, cruises, they don't look good. So we continue to short the rip in these weak names. So we continue to buy the VIX, and the VIX today was pretty much flat. It didn't move at all. It closed negative just by a little bit. But the thing is, even with flat action, that actually reduces the cost of the call options on VIX proxies. So we continue to accumulate protection in the VIX. We continue to buy calls to protect our long-term portfolio in anticipation of a big move to the downside. We also shorted the rip from yesterday in airlines and cruises. And as you see, I recommended doing that because these stocks are just weak, and it's being controlled by day traders and gamblers who are looking for a quick profit. They pop the stock. Once it goes up, they just bail out on it and leave others who are believing into the long-term story, the recovery story, holding the bag of losses. So let's take a look at Norwegian cruise chart, 15 minutes chart. As soon as the action started in the morning, just as I predicted, they bought the dip and they continued to buy it all the way to the end of the day, and then they got smoked. However, looking at the chart here, you can actually tell a few things. The dip in the morning that got bought heavily, that's most likely short covering because they covered and they're sold right away. And then here comes the dip buyers. They continue to buy the dip. They continue to buy the dip. Some take profits right away, and it collapses on the gambling morons who believe that Norwegian cruise is just doing great and gonna bounce back, and you don't understand, bro. Cruise is gonna be back. Old people love cruises and all that garbage that we've been hearing for a while. Is Norwegian Cruise a healthy company from a financial standpoint? Yes, if you look at the cash flow statement or if you look at the balance sheet, they get quite a bit of cash. They can continue their operation and pay their expenses until the end of the year. But you're talking about a company that's going to lose at least half of the revenue from the year 2020. You're talking about a company that will deplete its cash reserves and will be in debt. This is not the same company. This is not the same Norwegian Cruise that was before 2020. Here is a chart, a 30-minute chart on Delta Airlines, just to give an example of what the airlines were doing. Yesterday, of course, we had a sell-off from the type sell the rip, and we shorted Delta Airline at that time. Consolidation, another move to the downside, and people started to pick up. Buy the dip crowd continues to buy and believe in Delta. There's a little bit of buying here, and it ends negative just by a little under 2%. And here's a trade that we made on Delta Airlines, booked up the 60% profit. Now the other stock with a lot of action today is Hertz, bankrupt company, yet the gambling crowd on Robinhood continue to buy it, continue to pour money into it. I don't know what they believe, but according to RobinTrack, most popular stock in terms of increases in users, numbers of users in Robinhood, is Hertz. I don't know who's giving them advice to buy Hertz. What is the end game here? You're betting on a bankrupt company. What's going on? But here's the thing from a psychological standpoint. Just look at the chart. We had the pop and then the sell-off, and here's the halt. It opens up again, and then it sells off. And after hours, it's not doing great at all. It's down over 6%. But the psychology in a move like Hertz, a bankrupt company, is a bunch of guys buy the stock because it's cheap, and they hype it up online or on Twitter, whatever they do. And the stock pops out because stocks move on buying and selling. More buying, the stock goes up, even if it's a bankrupt company. So more buyers come in, they pump and dump the stock. They pump the stock, and certain guys believe the hype after they see a stock move over 20%, 30%. And in terms of Hertz, it moved over 100%. So they'll buy the stock hoping that that move will continue and that they will make money. The problem with these guys is they're the Johnny-come-lately in the move. They're the victims of the dump part of the pump and dump. And after they start losing money on the trade, instead of taking their losses and admitting that they were wrong, they continue to be stubborn. And they look for any positive headline, any speculation to cling into that hope that the trade will work out. They're emotionally invested in the trade. They don't really care if they make money or not. They're emotionally invested in being right. Hey, I bought it. I bought Hertz. I want to be right. I want to win. But do you really care about money? Because if you cared about money and making profit, you wouldn't gamble your money on a bankrupt company. I'll show you some of the comments of these people who are buying Hertz stock from Yahoo Finance. It's just hilarious. Here's a guy who says he will not sell until it hits 5. It will hit 5 by the end of the week. No, it's not, dude. It's actually going to 0. Here's another guy says that stock will increase to €5. It trades in dollars, not euros. Tomorrow. Don't sell. No, you should sell. You should sell because that stock's bankrupt. Here's another one. Pre-market volume is way down. That means no one left to sell as shorts are maxed out. It will pause right here until the explosion of 7. Okay. I mean, it's just, I don't know who these people are. They obviously don't have any value to their money. Otherwise, they wouldn't be gambling in this company. But we are in a phase of the market where the gamblers just invaded the market. They're buying cheaper stocks, thinking that they're as smart as Warren Buffett, even smarter than Warren Buffett, and they're going to score big. Hard lessons are about to come. Here's a chart of another garbage company, 15-minute chart, Wynn Resorts, casinos. We've seen the initial demand on going to casinos. You guys saw the videos of people going crazy on the first day when the casinos opened in Las Vegas. But the truth is that will wind down. And right now traffic is slowing down because people are scared. It's not safe. They don't have the money to gamble like they used to before. And Wynn Resorts already issued a warning in Macau that even in Macau they're seeing slowdown in terms of gambling activities. So why are you buying casino stocks again? Who knows? But we shorted Wynn. We're still short. We still hold that position. I'll post the results to you whether we profit or we lose. I'll post that to you once the trade is closed. Back to the main market, 15-minute charts, SPY. This is the action from yesterday. We popped, consolidated, sold off, bought the dip, and continued to consolidate. And today was no different. We just continued. That's why in yesterday's video I said it's inconclusive. We cannot make anything from it because it just continued to hang on there and waiting and waiting and waiting. And today it's the same thing. It's just waiting and waiting and waiting. Close a little bit on the downside, but not a big deal. It's still in the same range. And what it's doing, it's really waiting to invite more buyers to come in. If the buyers don't show up, like I said in the beginning of the video, sellers will, and they will take the market to the downside. That's why you have to take a look at the VIX. The VIX had its initial pop and a reversal. And it's just gathering energy to pop to the upside again, right? It's just waiting and waiting and waiting, just like the SPY is waiting and waiting and waiting. It's a battle between bulls and the bears. Who's going to win at the end of this week? It's a very decisive week because it's an option expiration week. It's the monthly expiration week. There are people who bought options expiring. A lot of people bought options expiring this week. Which direction do you think they bought those options? Is it calls or puts? We know they're calls just by looking at the volume of the options. They're bidding on the upside. Now, there are big guys who sold you these options. They don't expect to lose. They don't want to lose. And that's why there's a lot of funky business before Friday's expiration. Like you saw today. It goes up, it goes down. But at the end of the day, the big guys don't like to lose money. They don't want you to score on your calls. So they'll try to do whatever they can to crash the market before expiration date. So your options, your call options, would expire worthless. Conclusion. Pretty boring day. No action at all, except a whiplash. Up, down, bulls versus bears. Very decisive week. Who's going to win? The bulls have to take the market all the way to the highs right here by the end of the week. If they fail, expect more continuation of this move. The primary move, a reaction, and then a secondary move to the downside. And my target is 286. If you like this video, please subscribe, share, and like, and don't forget to follow me on Twitter.